Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Very excited about today's video. My Sephora order came in. It was actually very quick. They said it was going to take 2 weeks. It ended up taking 2 days, and we are going to put it all to the test today. I have already filmed this video, obviously. I'm wearing the look that I came up with this makeup today, and I have to say, pretty impressed with most of this stuff. Very curious eyeshadow palette with some really interesting textures that I cannot wait to share with you guys. A foundation that kind of surprised me, and some other good stuff that I can't wait to share with you guys. So it should be a lot of fun. Before we get into the video, if you are new here, welcome. I hope you enjoyed this video today, and I hope you'll consider subscribing. Also, make sure your notification bell is turned on, and that goes for all of you, by the way. But I'm eager to dip into this stuff, so let's get right to it. Alrighty, here is my box. Let's take a peek inside. I've already opened it, I've already peeked, but haven't opened any of the products yet. Let me just walk you guys through everything that I picked up in case you missed my last video. I picked up the Sephora Lash Stash. This is the original one, not the clean version. I also picked up the Kosas Revealer Skin Improving Foundation. I ended up going with the shade Light Neutral Olive 160. I'm crossing my fingers on the shade match. It's always so tricky to do that online. I got the Laneige Lip Glowy Balm. I love this stuff. This is the Gummy Bear scented, tasting, fragranced. I also picked up the Westman Atelier Duo. This comes with a mini gloss and then a blush stick. I cannot wait to try this out. It is a little on the small side, but I'm okay with that for these. This is a very pricey brand, and I'm just excited to give it a try because I've heard some really good things. I did end up picking up the Empowered eyeshadow palette from Huda Beauty, which I've heard so many good things about. Like I left that little unclear in my shopping video. I did end up picking up this palette, so we're gonna try that out today. Of course, we'll do swatches, do an eye look with it. And then I picked up the Milk Makeup Lip and Cheek set. This has 5 of the lip and cheeks. I cannot wait to try these out as well. We'll probably just swatch these today. Maybe we'll end up using one on the lips underneath the gloss that we'll be using from Westman Atelier, but I really want to try this blush on my cheeks. But we'll still go through these, take a look, and do some swatching. So let me just clip my hair out of my face. So we're gonna do a full look of makeup today, and we'll just fill in the gaps with other things that I already have. I did already put on my Maybelline 4-in-1 primer just to hydrate my skin a little bit. I'm gonna add a little bit of the Laneige Glowy Balm to my lips to get them nice and soft. This is so yummy. Okay, so let's start with the foundation. Kind of feel like I wore the wrong clothing choice today. We're gonna be doing swatches with an eyeshadow palette, which is always messy. A new foundation. I'm gonna have a cream turtleneck on. Well, at least we'll be able to see if this is transfer resistant. I don't believe it is supposed to be. Let me just read you guys through some of the claims. I know a lot of you have probably already seen people use or talk about this foundation. It says it's a clean, skin improving, medium coverage foundation, powerhouse treatment plus SPF to reveal your best, most vibrant skin without feeling makeup-y. It says it has hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, peptide squalane, vitamin B5, arnica, caffeine, artemisia flower. I love artemisia flowers. It also says it's safe for sensitive skin and silicone free. So let's have a look at the bottle. Ooh, really pretty glass bottle. Pump, hopefully this pump works. Oh, I'm always nervous about pumps. I've been having trouble with so many of mine lately. So let me just get a little swatch of this on the back of my hand. I'm hoping I'm not gonna have to add anything to this to get the shade to match me. I'm a little worried it's gonna be a little bit light. Oh gosh, it is gonna be way too light, you guys. I did not go with the right shade. Really like how that feels though. Okay, I'm debating what I should do. I always hate to add something to a foundation when it's brand new. You know what, we're just gonna use it. I'll just use a little extra bronzer. I'll come back and let you guys know when I've tried adding other things to it. I usually will add this. This is my darkest foundation in my collection. This shade is way too dark for me. It's from Flower Beauty. This is Tawny M4. So I'll usually just add a drop of this to anything that's too light, but I'm not gonna do that today because I wanna test this out on its own just to really test out the formula. So I put 2 pumps on the back of my hand. I do really like this pump. You can really control how much comes out. That's always a bonus. Let's just hope it doesn't get too messy over time. So I'm kind of thinking I want to do a dual application with this just to see how it applies. I've been really into using my brush more recently, but I also want to try it with a sponge. So we'll do this side of my face with the brush, this side with the sponge, just to see if there's a difference in how it applies or in the coverage. So let's start on this side. Ooh, it does have a fragrance. It's soft, it's not obnoxious, but it's not unscented. This feels really, really hydrating. I mean, I could just tell when I swatched it. As long as it wears well, the formula feels pretty promising. So I'm actually gonna apply that full. I don't know that my first pump was a fully depressed pump, so this is maybe more like a pump and a half, but I'm using all of it I probably could spread this to the other side, honestly, but we'll just apply a little bit more with my sponge on the other side. Very pretty. Would agree with the medium coverage claim. I mean, it's like a good solid medium coverage. It's pretty well covering up some of my lighter hyperpigmentation marks, but you can see some of my more severe ones poking through. I don't mind that. I actually prefer to cover those up with a concealer rather than have a heavier foundation on. It has a really pretty natural looking glow though that I really like. It says natural dreamy finish. I would almost call this like so far like a softly glowy dreamy finish. It's not overly dewy, but it's more dewy than natural in my opinion, at least with what I'm seeing so far. Very, very much like it though. That's really beautiful. Okay, let's add a little bit more on the other side with the sponge. I'm gonna take one more. That was a full pump. I don't know that I need all that, but probably my sponge will soak up quite a bit of this, so. Maybe it is a good thing I have my turtleneck on. I can just zip it up and then who cares? It doesn't need to match me. Then I'll just put some gloves on and no one will be the wiser. Just have a little peek here. That is pretty. It's a very pretty foundation. Just trying to look on the side with the brush. I feel like I do have better coverage maybe on this side. I do feel like it's sitting a little bit better around my nose area where I do have some larger pores right here. I feel like it looks a little bit better on this side with the sponge right there. It was a little bit heavy in that area on this side, but I'm really liking the finish and the coverage. Very, very pretty. And I don't think the shade match is terrible. I mean, it's a little bit light, but that'll be an easy fix in the future. Just adding a little bit of a darker shade to this or just adding some extra bronzer, which is what we'll do today. Let's add a little bit of concealer. Why not go with my Co-Sauce? I have the shade 3.2 right here. I'm just gonna add a little bit more to the areas that need a little bit of extra coverage. Pretty, pretty finish. I am really loving this soft glow. I don't know if that's picking up on camera, but it's very, very flattering. I would say it's not quite glowy to the level of like my Flower Beauty, but close. I'm just gonna blend this in with my sponge on both sides. Okay, I am going to set down just my eyelids and the center of my forehead with a tiny bit of powder. I always do this. But I'm gonna try to leave the rest of my face powder free just to see how it wears without any powder. I'm just using my Rimmel Stay Matte, just a little bit in my brush here. Just gonna tap that on my eyelids and my forehead. There we go. Let's throw some bronzer on today. Ooh, what should we use? I need something that's really gonna warm up my skin. Why don't I use my Hourglass bronzer? This is the shade Luminous Bronze Light. It's a pretty one. Sometimes I feel like this is a little bit warm on me, but honestly I haven't used it for a couple months. So again, I mentioned recently that my bronzer preferences have been changing a little bit lately. Okay, that's really pretty. Perfect for warming things up. All right, that looks much better. Let's dip into some of these blushes. Let's start with the Westman Atelier. I'm so curious to open this up and swatch it. So here's a size on these little products here. I know the full size is quite a bit bigger. I will link for you guys right here how much product the full size blush stick has. This one has 0.09 ounces. Let's just take a little, give it a little twist up just to see how much product we actually get in this. Okay, that's a decent amount. I mean, for the price I paid for it, it was a little bit pricey. This thing was still like 40 bucks, but I know this is a very luxury brand, so that doesn't surprise me too much. Let's give it a little swatch on the back of my hand. Oh wow, that's very, very pigmented. Ooh, I love that shade though. Kind of rusty and rosy at the same time. I love shades like this. That looks pretty promising. Let's dip into this with my Alter Ego brush. Dip into that swatch that I just put on the back of my hand. Maybe we'll add a little bit more. Let's just build some of that up in my brush. Tap some of the excess on the back of my hand. I have a feeling this might be a little bit on the more pigmented side, but we'll see. If there's instructions on like the best way to apply this. Nope, just says for a look that's always effortless, never overdone. Sure, that has nothing to do with the user. That's lovely. Really, really pretty. This would make a really pretty lip color as well. Fun little gift. This feels, as tiny as this little box and this little product is, it feels sturdy. Like someone that appreciates higher end makeup could appreciate the quality of this. It does feel higher quality. I really do love that. That's beautiful. I'm just gonna go around the edges. It's a little bit darker, which I'm not opposed to, but often with a more pigmented blush like that, I especially need to make sure that I blend out the edges so it looks natural. Look at that color though. That is absolutely stunning. I don't know that I'd say it's the most like unique color in my collection. I don't know. I'd have to do some like poking around. It kind of reminds me of a rosier version of my Sun-Kissed from Nude Sticks, which you guys know I've been loving again lately. I really do love that. Very, very pretty. We will come back for the gloss. This, again, is very small, but man, this thing weighs like a pound. I don't have a new highlighter. Let's just dip into one that I already own. This is just the Jaclyn highlighter in the shade Iced. So just a heads up though, you guys, I did go back and place another order. I know, shameless. But there were a couple other things that I decided I wanted to try before the sale ended. One of them was a liquid highlighter that I'm really excited about. Like it's kind of like a highlighter slash primer, similar to like the Stay Glowy Super Gel. It's for Milk Makeup. So we're gonna try that out along with a couple other products that I'm very curious about. So that will be coming in the next week or two. Let's throw a little bit in my brows. Let's just take my Benefit brow pencil. First, let's put just a little bit of my e.l.f. wax stick in there. I'm just gonna brush this through and then fill them in. All right, exciting part. Let's dip into this Huda Beauty palette. I had no intentions of picking up an eyeshadow palette during the sale, particularly one that was over $60. This thing was pretty pricey. And I'm finding it wasn't that long ago that I would not buy a palette that was over like $50. And it's funny how that number just keeps going up. It seems every larger, more high-end palette these days is in the $60 to $70 range. All right, but let's have a look at this beauty. Ooh, it is very, very pretty. Oh wow, look at that gold. I don't know that I've ever seen a gold. Oh my goodness. Ooh, that feels very creamy. Not what I was, oh my gosh, so sparkly. Look at that, it's like my earrings. That is pretty. I don't even normally love very yellowy, brassy golds, but the sparkle in this is unreal. That is so, so beautiful. A lot of sparkle in these shades. This one is so curious. Let me just insert a close-up of this for you guys really quickly before I go in and swatch everything, because this looks really beautiful inside the palette. So curious. So this shade has this like river imprint in the middle, and as I feel it, it's like, this is a true cream. And there are a couple other creams in here that I'm noticing, like these two shades. It looks like this is a cream. This is so curious. I'm gonna stick my fingers in this. I haven't swatched this yet. I will insert for you guys some swatches right here so you can see how all the shadows look swatched. But I'm gonna go through these and swatch them live for you guys as well, because I'm just so curious about some of the textures in here. They look very, very interesting and unique. So this shade right here, Manifest It, the one that had like the little river in the middle, this is a true cream. I mean, this is a cream shadow and it looks stunning. That is so beautiful. It's like a peachy bronze. I really want to swatch this shade right here as well. This looks like one of the creams, kind of like what you would see in the Patrick Ta palettes, how he has the darker creams. Oh wow, this is beautiful. Kind of a like purpley charcoal. Look at that, you guys. Okay, very excited about this. This black up here is also a cream. This one, I can't tell, is that a powder or a cream? It's very, no, that's a matte, that's a powder. There we go, there's that matte right there. Here's the black, sorry, I'm not being very organized in my swatching. Just kind of swatching at random. Okay, very interesting. So these are really, really interesting. I mean, different textures than I think I felt, other than that matte, which just feels like a really nice matte. These are very much feeling like the Patrick Ta creams in the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions palette. This cream shadow feels unlike anything else I've ever felt before. It's a very different texture than what I felt. It's a very emollient, smooth kind of cream that's not what I typically feel in an eyeshadow. It's different. It's different. It has a different shimmer quality to it as well. This gold has so much beautiful sparkle in it, and those are only 5 of the shades in this palette. I've got to fill just a couple more. This one right here feels feels normal. I mean, it feels, ooh, that's pretty. So this one feels kind of like it's like a glitter topper. It has a slightly creamy feel. Very pretty shade. It's kind of like it's like a brown or kind of charcoaly base with an iridescent, like golden purple berry iridescence to it. Very pretty. I'm dying to try this metallic right here. Ooh, this one feels very, oh wow, that is so pretty. Guys, I am getting excited. Okay, the watch needs to come off. Look at this metallic. Oh my gosh, that is gorgeous. Warmer than it appears in the pan, but like a really like pretty taupey peach. I don't know what you would even call that color. It's very interesting. That is a stunning lid shade. Oh my goodness, I don't think this swatch is doing it justice at all. I'm getting extra excited. One thing I'm noticing, I'm curious when I do the swatches. I haven't swatched everything yet, but these like 4 or even 5 shades right here, they all look, I mean, they're different, but they look similar. So I'm curious to see how those are gonna come across on the eyes. I do love that you get this kind of gray tone right here. I'm curious to see how that goes onto the eyes. I love this more like cool, dusty kind of purple rose shade. Looks beautiful. Lots of good options for transition shades in here. And then I love that you get these creams right here to darken up the crease, and then this matte shade, which is also kind of like a plum color. I love those type of colors in my crease. I also need to swatch this shade because look at that. I hate to swatch it. It looks like solar system. It's such a beautiful, I love when they do that, just for the visual effect when they do that kind of swirly thing. That's pretty. Kind of like a rusty rose. Wow, so I am very excited to try this palette now. Kind of feeling good about it. I'm gonna zoom guys in just a little bit and then we'll get started. All right, we're just gonna kick things off in this top corner right here. This is the shade Keep Going. I love how there's like 5 shades in, maybe not 5, 1, 2, 3, not 5. 3 shades in here that have an exclamation point on them. I don't know why I think that's kind of funny. I am someone that overuses exclamation points, I've been told. Just feel like a text is so severe without a good smiley face emoji or exclamation point. Sometimes my husband will have me write, like if we're driving and he's having to answer like work emails or something and he's driving, he'll have me like respond to texts for him. And he's always like very careful to make sure he tells me not to put an exclamation point at the end. It just seems so unfriendly, but I guess that's how things are done in the professional world. I'm gonna take that same shade just on the very tip. I'm just gonna run this underneath. So I think these are supposed to be a gel liner hybrid shadow. So I guess you could use them as a gel liner. I'm gonna take a little bit of this shade right here. We're gonna run just a touch of this right through the crease, just to deepen out that socket all the way across. I'm gonna start with a tiny bit of this cream right here. I know this isn't meant to be a gel liner. I'm hoping I can use it kind of as like a smudgy starting point for my outer corner. And to do that, I'm gonna take this Sydney Grace little smudgy brush. This thing's super tiny. We're gonna dip into this shade right here, which is shade Worthy. I'm just gonna put the tiniest bit on my brush, and I'm gonna just start at the lashes and just really smudge that in, and then slowly kind of pull it up a little bit. Kind of pulling up to the outer corner as well, just to really get this nice and diffused. Okay, hopefully those look even. Really interesting, really nice formula. I do want to top that with a little bit of this shade up here. This is the like deep plum, the shade Confident. Take my reference number 13 and dip in here. And I'm slowly just gonna top what I put down with this shade, just to add a little bit more depth and kind of set that cream down. That's beautiful. Let's go into this shade right here. So this is the shade Manifested. Again, this is very, very creamy. I mean, it almost feels like a cream bronzer, but look at that shade, you guys. It is so pretty. I'm just gonna start tapping this all over the lid, all the way in. That is so pretty. I love that shade. Guess now the test will be whether or not it creases on my lids. Okay, and I just realized there's not really anything light enough for what I typically put on my inner corner. I guess that's maybe my My only complaint that I didn't even realize until just now. Normally I love having something really nice and brightening on my inner corner. I'm gonna try and add just a little bit of this shade right here. This is just that golden sparkle. Probably not gonna be quite as light as what I'm usually looking for, but we're gonna try it anyways. If you guys are seeing this, you guys, I mean, it's super pretty. I feel like on most people, this would be a perfectly fine, beautiful look, but I really feel like having a shade that's even more of like a mid-tone, which I wouldn't even call this like dark, but it really does close off my eyes. Like my eyes just need something bright on the inner corner or they just don't look very good. I'm gonna try just taking that same brush. I don't really feel like that gold did much. I'm gonna take this shade, Bold Moves, the more like metallic kind of taupe shade, and try popping a little bit of that. Okay, that might do the trick. It is a little bit more metallic and brightening. Okay, and the last thing I want to do, I'm gonna take this little liner brush right here. I wanna take that same kind of deep plum gel liner shade down there and use this as an actual gel liner. But I'm gonna start on my lower lash line and kind of take it from just this outermost part of my lower lash line and pull it upwards. So I'm almost drawing my liner from down below rather than from on top. Just to try and do something a little different, I'm gonna take a clean finger and just smudge out that front edge there. So you can't really tell where it starts. I don't know if that's like that wildly different than what I typically do. I feel like it kind of gives a different shape to my eye though. Okay, so there are the finished eyes. We need to move along though. So let's jump over to my lash stash set right here. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. What should I select? Actually, I want to use the Rare Beauty. I'm curious about this mascara. Let's dip into this one today. I did already curl my lashes about an hour ago. So here's the brush, cute little mini mascara. Let me know if you guys have tried this one out. Just gonna pop this on really quick. And here are the finished eyes, complete with mascara. What do you guys think? I have mixed feelings about this mascara. I kind of feel like my lashes, they look very long, maybe a little bit sparse though. I'm gonna need a little bit more time with it. But let's move on to the lips. Before we do, I wanna go through the Milk set that I got. So this is their gift set. This came with 5 of their lip and cheeks. We've got the shade Work, which I already own. This is an old favorite of mine. Perk, Quirk, how cute, they rhyme. And then Flip and Dash. So let me just swatch all of these for you guys. I'm gonna dip into my own Work right here. I'm gonna keep this one nice and packaged so I can gift it for Christmas. All right, so let's start with the shade Work. Again, this is an old favorite shade of mine. We might end up using this one on the lips or one of the others. Beautiful, beautiful, just basic pink. Then let's go with the shade Dash. This also looks like a pink, maybe like more bubblegum sort of pop of pink. Ooh, that looks fun. Oh yeah, this is much more of a light kind of baby pink. So there's the shade Dash right there. That will be really pretty on the lips with a darker lip liner. Now let's try this coral shade. This is the shade Perk. Oh no, look. I think I can kind of salvage it. Again, this is the shade Perk. There it is right there. Much more of like a corally kind of pink. Actually, let me turn my lights down just a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better. Work, Dash, Perk. Then let's go with this one. This is the shade Flip. Looks like a basic red, like a ruby, kind of like a ruby pink shade. Ooh, that looks really fun. This is the shade Flip. There's the shade Flip right there. And then the last is the shade Quirk. Ooh, yes, I love shades like this. This actually kind of reminds me of the one that we used on my cheeks today, maybe a little bit deeper. So there is the shade Quirk right there. So again, we have Work, Dash, Perk, Flip, and Quirk. Those all look really, really gorgeous. I do want to try one of these on the lips today. Actually, let's just try out a couple of these. Let's try out these 4 on my lips just for fun before we go back in with this gloss and do my final lip look. So this is the shade Dash, the light pink. Actually, let me wipe the foundation off of my lips first. So there's the shade Dash. It looks really weird without a lip liner. I feel like I could pull this off if I had a lip liner. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. That maybe even be a little bit light for me. Not wild about it with this eye look, but we'll see. Maybe with a different lip liner, that one might work a little bit better for me. This one is the shade Perk, the more coral shade. There we go. That one's a little bit better. Let's try the shade Flip. That's this one right here. I'm just kind of going in order. This looks like an apple. Ooh, this is not a shade I use very often on my lips, but I am eager to try this on my cheeks. Don't love that on my lips. It'll be pretty on my cheeks, but I'm not loving that one on my lips. Let's try this last one. This is the shade Quirk. That one I like a little bit better. I still think it needs a lip liner. I do not like it with this eye look at all, but I think the shade is really pretty, and I do, again, think this will be beautiful on the cheeks. So as far as like the lips, honestly, for my lips, I think Work is my favorite shade. It's like my perfect shade of nude. It's kind of like a Your Lips But Better sort of shade for me. It gives me just a little bit of hydration, a little bit of softness. It's not overly glossy. Most of these other ones, I don't know that I'm wild about for my lips. I think this one's maybe a little too light. I did like the coral shade, the shade Perk. I think that one will be fun to reach for my lips, but the other ones will probably we'll keep those for my cheeks. So let's go back over to the Westman Atelier gloss. This is the Squeaky Clean Lip Balm in the shade Nana. Let's do a quick little swatch. Again, you guys, the packaging of this feels so fancy. Ooh, this looks like a pretty shade. Really like light and soft and milky, but kind of like dusty mauve at the same time. That looks gorgeous. So pretty. I'm curious how much product is inside here. So this has 0.21 ounces in it. That's actually not terrible. I mean, I'm pretty sure that like the Maybelline Lifter Gloss only has like 0.18. That looks promising though. I have a feeling I'm gonna love that. I do need a little bit of lip liner on. Let's throw on just a little bit of, actually let's go with Nonstop Nude from LA Girl. I feel like this will go really well. There it is right there. Just gonna add a little bit of this below the center of my lip and above. Just the center. Before I throw on that gloss, let me just go back to the lip and cheek in the shade Work. Just throw this on top. Beautiful on its own. Now let's try a little bit of this lighter gloss on top. It's very comfortable. Very non-sticky. This kind of reminds me of, oh, where is it? Like the Rare Beauty gloss, just very not sticky at all. Or like the Tower 28, just very soft feeling. Still pretty glossy though. I feel like this is a color that would go with absolutely anything. It's a slightly milky, but it's still quite sheer to where you could put it on top of anything. That's pretty promising. I know it was pricey, but this might be a new favorite for me. And here we have the completed makeup look. Let me just share a couple final thoughts with you guys. Please keep an eye on the description box down below. I'll give you guys some updates down there. I'm not gonna be around to do a check-in tonight, but I will keep an eye on how the foundation wears throughout the day. I'm also very curious about some of these eyeshadow formulas, like how they hold up throughout the rest of the day, and also the mascara. So I will give those updates down below. But a couple things I wanted to point out just from what I've used so far, just based on my first impressions. Very excited about this foundation. I love how this is feeling on my skin. It's very hydrating, really pretty subtle dewy finish. It says it's a natural finish, but I think it's a little bit more dewy than natural. It's definitely more dewy than my NARS Light Reflecting Foundation, but I am really loving how it's looking on the skin. Really good solid medium coverage. Again, I'll let you know how it wears. Very happy with the cheek color. It is gorgeous. This is a beautiful shade of blush. Great little duo. I think this would make a fantastic gift. I'm wild about this lip gloss. I think it's fantastic. I mean, I probably normally wouldn't buy this full price because it would just be more than I would be comfortable spending typically. But if you like more luxury makeup, this feels absolutely luxury. I mean, I've never felt a gloss that feels quite as sturdy as this. It feels very fancy. It feels like you paid 50 bucks for it, because I practically did. The mascara I'm gonna need a little bit more time with. It looks good. It's very lengthening. I kind of feel like it doesn't make my lashes look very thick, as in like I have a lot of or full. It doesn't make my lashes look very full like I have a lot of lashes, but it's pretty, it's flattering. I'll keep you guys posted on that. I'll probably need a little bit more time, a couple days or weeks with that mascara to get my final thoughts on it. Let's talk a little bit about this eyeshadow palette though. I am very excited about this. Like the textures inside here are giving me very Patrick Ta kind of vibes. Not even that they're the same as that formula or his formulas, but they're so unique. There's so many different textures in here that are really fun to play with. I love how this eye look turned out. I love this lid shimmer. The only complaint that I have, and after doing this look, and I imagine dipping back into this palette, I'm gonna find this to be something that I personally want, is I just wish there was one shade lighter in here. Like I always love having a light shell pink or a light champagne in any palette. Even though I have hundreds of eyeshadow palettes, I always love having that basic shade, even if it's a matte, honestly, inside a palette, because I just need that brightness on my inner lid or my inner corner. I don't think it looks bad. I just feel like I'm missing that bright pop of like brightness on my inner lid, and I don't know that I can find it inside this palette. But that said, I am still very excited to play with some of the other textures and shades inside here. Let me know what you guys thought of this one. Did you try this one out? I know a lot of people have been raving about it lately, so I imagine quite a few of you have tried this. Did you find yourself wishing it had a lighter shade? It's not a huge deal. I can always reach for my highlighter, but again, if I'm traveling with it or something, I just always appreciate having at least one shade that's quite light. But I believe that is everything. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I know this one's probably gonna be a little bit long. Let me know if you guys have tried any of these products out. How did they work out for you? I'd love to hear that down in the comments below. Hope you guys are all doing well. Let me give you one last reminder, if you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you do that before you leave. And I will see all of you very soon in my next video. Bye.